stick him in any kind of match, and like we saw when he was part of the Elimination Chamber, just slotted into that so natural, like he belonged there. It's almost like he's a real natural to this.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell he's comfortable because, just from a couple of years ago when I started doing when I used to go to acting school, people would get their lines sometimes, and you knew the people that were nervous and the people that weren't. But he has very good timing with everything he delivers. Like, his delivery is spot on. Not only that, I think he's doing a little bit more of the old school stuff where he's actually waiting for the reactions and then reacting to that, as opposed to just going through the motions and hoping that it works, and which really does help as well. I mean, of course, the funny thing is, Matt, as fans, we love to be humiliated, because the more he does that, the more we're cheering. The more he's telling us how bad London is, and the kids and us as adults. Especially that song at the end, was hilarious. But we love that as fans, and I think it shows you the star power is there. I think he's a great wrestler as well. I mean, this is the thing that we don't talk about much with Elias. But if you look who he's gone against, I mean, there's definitely something there. He's very built as well. I mean, he's no small guy, so he does have a lot of stuff going for him at the minute. And again, I wouldn't push him too early. I think you've got enough time to try and get a bit of a character arc with him. Like, let's see where he goes, and keep him a heel, I think, for as long as possible, because there's no rush. I think you don't want to do the Braun Strowman thing, and that's what worries me the most, Matt, because let's look at where Braun is at the minute. I know it's not the worst case scenario, because he is heavily over, don't get me wrong, but as a character point of view, it's terrible. And I don't want the same to happen to Elias. I really don't. I want him to, if he comes out of humiliating and peeing off the people, fair enough, but let him do it to his opponents. Then that's normally what happens. You look back at John Cena when he used to do the rapping. They turn it onto their opponent. It's an easy transition, but I just don't want to see it where he's like squeaky clean, and then he's going to start saying how great every town is that he goes to, and all the rest of it. So I just hope that they keep the character where he is at the moment, and let's learn more about him before you start pushing him into anything too serious. So yeah, very impressive Elias that night. Matt, I mean, let's just go through a few things here that we saw. What did you make of the debut of the unbeaten team, now the B team? Curtis Axel were a little bit lost on Raw with Bo Dallas. Is this one of those things now where they've fallen into what I call a Santino Marella position in the company, where they're just going to be comedy, or is there a potential they could actually be a credible tag team? Because you look at these guys, Matt. Curtis Axel, when he first come along, was he had Paul Heyman. He was going to be he was the Intercontinental Champion. He's the son of Kurt Hennig. All these great things. You look at Bo Dallas from NXT, Matt. One of the best champions they probably had when Neville come on the scene. I mean, you think of that rivalry is amazing. But now you look at him, you're like, my God, this guy's fallen. Is this something that they can get out of nowhere, or is this all going to be about how much the fans will push them into something here?
Yeah, I've got to feel like they will do it that way, that they'll wait and gauge the response from the fans, which so far has been quite positive. But I don't feel like they'll be reaching any astronomical heights. I don't think they'll be getting the belts or anything like that. There's always going to be a space for two guys like them. Something like the rise of them will mean the downfall of other teams, which is kind of a shame, really, because they don't seem to have enough slots for tag team stars these days. So, although it's great that they're going to get their shot, I do feel bad for other teams out there, like the Revival now, who surely won't have a look in. They just seem to be going down as the B team will make their rise, I assume. Yeah,
goodness knows where those two guys, I mean, they were so big. Them and American Alpha, like, man, where has that gone? You just thought absolute magic when it was down there, wasn't it? Also, Matt, talking of tag teams, Authors of Pain, what do you make of them since they've come up? Obviously, minus now their manager, but is WWE pushing them into something great, do you think? Because those guys seem to be like penciled in as, big stars coming ahead. I mean, I just got a feeling I can see them involved in some sort of stable somewhere down the line, but who knows? Jimbo, wrestler squad number 9, Matt, getting him in earlier, he sent an interesting email, and he said as much as he hates Roman Reigns, he says if he turns heel he'll forgive him, but he says he thinks that the Authors of Pain and Roman Reigns would be a perfect combination, probably because of their look, but I get what he's saying. What do you think though as a tag team for Authors of Pain, Matt? Are you a fan of theirs? I know we spoke highly of them in NXT, but since they've come up, they okay, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely believe so, but the thing that worries me is, like, whenever, like, a new tag team like that makes its debut on Raw, I always feel like they never push them fast enough. There's always this, like, transitional period where they're like, oh, some people might not know who they are, we better give them some squash matches, then put them against the lower card tag teams. I just like them to come in and make an impact. Like, if they're here and to be as dominant as they were in NXT, then why can't they just gun for the top guys straight away? I mean, I don't feel like we're going to lose out on anything. I don't really feel like Bray and Matt have set the tag team division on fire. I don't think like they've even breathed any sort of new life into it. I feel like that's a kind of stale position that we're in now, where they've had to just join two people that they couldn't find a better solution of how to use them. I feel like going against the Authors of Pain would be kind of a perfect time right now, and if they got destroyed, then they would just solidify the Authors of Pain as a top kind of dominant tag team, which they kind of need on Raw.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, Raw overall not too bad. I mean, a good experience for yourself and I think, Matt, we kicked off our journey sort of to WrestleMania. I think that's what it felt like for us. Because we've got a lot of shows coming up this year that we're going to. Probably the most I've been to within the span of 12 months that's going to be coming up. So this was sort of my first one. Now, Matt, you got to go back the second night and for SmackDown. How was that up against Raw? And was there a different mood? Were there more different fans, or do you think they were pretty much the same fans from the night before?
I think most of them were the same. Yeah. I mean, you might get the odd ones here or there. I feel like the energy was kind of gone by the second night almost. Right. I mean, aside from the fact that the Daniel Bryan situation, I mean, that was always going to be a good reaction for him because it's the first time he's come back and to the UK in all this time, and the fans are grateful to see that. But I feel like it was a combination of things from what we saw on Raw, which didn't really blow anyone away, and then to SmackDown putting on slow, methodical kind of pace, and then by the time 205 had kicked in, that was it. I think the interest had gone, and even like the kind of main event that they had announced, wasn't really gripping people to sit there and stick it out to get to that point. It was kind of a shame, really, because that 205 was different in a sense, and I feel like people should have got a bit more involved in that. But, I saw people leaving by the time that 205 got on there, so it just shows you the state where that's at.
Wow. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's got its own thing in itself. But, yeah, no, that's not a good sign. What about, obviously, you're saying about Nakamura. I mean, did that sort of resonate with the fans, or was that still, what it was? I mean,
yeah,
you did get some matches.
I feel like
there,
of the night, of the second night of SmackDown, that was the match that everyone was waiting for. Right. I mean, everyone knew that was going to be good. But in a sense as well, that left me kind of a bit bewildered as well, because we've seen so many AJ Nakamura matches that we got to the point now where there's just a throwaway one on SmackDown. It was kind of didn't even make sense. Have a match to determine what the rules are for your next match. Kind of confusing to me. Where have there gone the days when you would do something a bit more smarter than that and say, oh, okay, we've got two great wrestlers here. Why don't we both put them in separate singles matches, and whoever wins that match in the fastest time can pick the stipulation. At least then you get to see both wrestlers fighting someone else before they inevitably clash again. It just almost feels like, well, you've given us the ending to the match that you're working towards already. So it just confused me.
Yes, no, I totally see what you're saying. Also, Matt, it's worth pointing out that on Raw we obviously got the announcement that Ronda Rousey will be facing Nia Jax for the title. What did you make of that? I mean, it just seems so bland, but then obviously you understand why WWE have done it like that, because they want that thing to go out, and you know they realise that with Ronda Rousey, what they have there with her, if something like that comes out, especially on like a red carpet type of thing, then it goes viral. Everyone's like different outlets are talking about it than, you know, the normal wrestling ones. I totally get that, but what I really disliked about that, Matt, was just the whole hugging and, you know, we're all friends, and obviously, look, when anyone says anything here, we all know, because you only have to follow them on Instagram, that they're all getting on. There's no doubt about that. But as far as characters, Matt, I really feel like they are almost kicking themselves here. And we will talk about this. This will come in nicely to how we are and react as fans. But this is one of those situations, Matt, that I totally disagree with. Like, I just think the way they did it, and then even when Nia offers challenges her and all the rest of it, and then Charlotte comes in at the end, and it is unbelievable. It's like, I can't wait. Like, really. Why would she be that bothered? But it just seems so overdone, Matt. I mean, listen, I think it's great that everyone's talking about it. You know, Ronda Rousey does have star power, but let's do this in a way where we're not all gonna, if they're gonna do it, Matt, let's try and have a serious spin on it. Where there's a bit of friction. Now, I'm not saying they're not going to get to that. But I feel like, man, if that was what everyone saw viral, like that's not the product I want to send out, really, because compared to, say, a UFC type of encounter where it's a little bit more serious and she might have been pushing and shoving, this seems like a Mickey Mouse job, really. I mean, this seems ridiculous. What did you make of that, Matt? And am I over exaggerating on that one a little bit?
Yeah, it feels like they've got ahead of themselves a bit. Like they've got an end goal in sight, but the way that they get there doesn't really matter too much to them. It feels like, Ronda was talking about like working a schedule where she would be just like every other woman and she wouldn't take handouts and all this stuff. And now the opportunity has arisen, and that's what we're getting. We're just getting a match almost for the sake of having a match. I just don't understand that at all. I feel like a build would be a bit better, especially like all the other stuff that's going on. She's got like a feud with Stephanie anyway, and that's not really had much happen in the space of a month. Nothing's happened with that. There's been no progress there, so they're just rushing ahead, full steam, not really worried about actually taking things step by step.
Yeah, it's difficult with Ronda because I'm in two minds here. Like, I know people want to, and she probably does as well. You want to come in and you want to show that you're going to give as much as everyone else. I get that, but I also think you don't want to overexpose her either. Like, you want to make her a special attraction. You want her to be a bit more, where Brock is, where it is a special thing. Because you look at the likes of what happens to most of those women on a weekly basis, i.e. that tag match we got with Natalya, Sasha Banks and the rest of it. You don't want to see her just thrown into them. Definitely not. But I at the same time, I think giving her a title shot that early is kind of ridiculous, in a sense. Like, I thought they were going to go down the whole Natty route, and maybe they were going to work towards that. Maybe that's still on the cards for SummerSlam, who knows? Maybe that's a long-term plan. But, I just thought, keep her low-key, just have her on Raw, but don't have her kind of competing all the time, make it special. Just have her on the live shows, the weekends, have her working, getting ready. But, keep her as an attraction. But I kind of feel like throwing her in this early, Matt, against sort of a new champion in Nia Jax, I'm just confused with the timing of it all and where they're going to go with that. I can only assume that maybe Stephanie comes out and creates havoc, and that's going to go back onto that. But maybe that's wishful thinking as well. But that's where I'm going with it at the moment for now. Just before we move on, Matt, worth pointing out, it was announced on, I think when you were there at SmackDown, wasn't it, Matt, that Ronda Rousey